And welcome to Sports by Compion. My name, of course, is Stephen Compion, and I am joined by a plethora of people here on this pod today. We got, of course, our ever-present co-host, Dan Gill, in the house with some lovely shades. Dan, how you doing today, bud?
I'm great. How are you, buddy?
You know, living the dream. And we also have the main sex appeal of this show, our ever-present other co-host who comes and goes, Corey Compion, is in the house as well with a brand new shape job, sir. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. I appreciate the ever-present who comes and goes. I like to be an enigma.
It's a special time whenever we could get him out here. He's always available though. And then of course Cedric is also joining us while also playing some new Madden, and he's here to tell you what's that, Cedric? What's the review so far?
Trash. Straight trash.
Look like it's straight trash, but how you doing there, buddy?
Awesome. Loving this rain.
Love to hear it. So we got some NFL news to get to, some other movie news to get to. So let's hop right into it, as they say. We got the NFL news, and then we're going to go into just some fantasy talk. We're going to go through the top guys, give you our expert opinion on them. Corey here is actually a champion in the fantasy football world. So we're graced with his expertise today, and I think it's going to be a really great pod. You guys are in for some good stuff. So yeah, hopping right on into this, as they say. We got some just basic NFL news. So Dalvin Cook finally, it looks like he's headed somewhere about time that the ex-Viking finds a home. The Jets are starting to look pretty scary now. I mean, that is they already had a couple of good running backs in that stable, so now they got a bunch of them backing up.
He went to New York?
Yeah. Well, that's what it says.
Shit. Yeah.
So who's the other guy? Breece Hall, is it? Is the other running back?
They have Breece Hall. They have Michael Carter. They have a stacked running back.
That's what I'm saying, man. They got a stable there. And don't they have a guy with like a long hair too that's also pretty freaking good?
I'm not sure.
Either way, they got a bunch of studs over there. The Jets are starting to look dangerous. We'll see. I mean, there's always these preseason winners, right, at the Super Bowl champions, and so far it's definitely the Jets. In other news, Ezekiel Elliott also found a home. Where'd he head? He's going to New England. That's an interesting fit for our boy Zeke. What do you guys think about that?
Of course, career goes to
Dak. He's going to a team that could compete, right?
Yeah.
They get a good system up there.
Yeah.
So might as well chase it while he can.
Running backs in New England are wide receivers in Chicago. Or used to be, I guess. Maybe it's changing now.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know. Claypool's still kind of dying over there, so he might be on to something.
Well, Claypool might just not be a wide receiver. Okay, let's be honest.
I feel like they dropped that article just to fuel his fire, man, because they needed to get him going. He's supposed to be a captain.
So all of us.
Everyone goes to dies. The Browns are just where everyone goes to die, regardless of your position.
Indeed. Regardless of position, unless you're Joe Thomas, your career is probably headed in a bad place.
Watch out for the Browns. Man.
Imagine if you just get drafted there. Like, your career's dead to begin with.
Oh, man. That's sad.
Well, yeah, no, Cedric's right. Watch out for the Browns this year. They are looking pretty dangerous. Deshaun Watson's had a full season with them now. Everyone's very angry at this man, but he's still a good quarterback, so I guess they're going to have to put up with it. And he's still young. What draft class is he? 2018 or something like that? So barely like 6 years or so in the league. Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna probably have a pretty big year. Sorry to put it to a lot of people. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. But he has all the weapons to make it happen. So yeah, some mild news here. Now, all of us here are football fans, so we do appreciate football movies. I watched Blindside. That was pretty good as far as football movies go. There was a decent amount of football coverage. Definitely a lot of corny parts in there. But Dan has some shocking news for us today about said movie. Daniel, what do you have to say about this movie?
Yeah, so apparently Michael Oher alleges that the family, it was all a lie and they made millions off of him. So he They
Oh,
did.
shoot. Oh no, Dan, you cut out there. Sorry. So they made millions off of him.
They never
Still can't hear you, bud.
got
Very, very choppy. I'm not sure.
Sorry, dude. I'll try it now.
hello.
Yeah, you're better now.
So they're saying that they didn't actually, in fact, adopt him. What it is was he signed a conservatorship, which gave them the ability to kind of make the legal authority to make business deals with his name. So they were the ones that set up the movie deal that the parents and the birth children have made millions off of the movie and royalties to the tune of more than $300 million.
Yikes.
And that nothing would have been, like, their life wouldn't basically have existed without him. So apparently he hasn't seen like anything from this movie that came out.
Wow.
Is what I've like come to read. There's like a whole 14-page article that was filed. So I think it'll be interesting to see. The family has not responded to any of the allegations yet, and their attorney declined to speak to various news sources. But he said that they will be filing a legal response to the allegations in coming weeks. And then the dad, Sean, told a local paper's website that he was stunned by the allegations and said that the family didn't make any money off the movies and only share a portion of the proceeds from the book that was written, which was the foundation for the film. So it's kind of interesting to see which side is actually true, but I mean, this whole thing just seems to be wild.
I don't see how they wouldn't make any money off of it. Like, how do you buy a story and not pay, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be like a chunk of the money from buying the rights to the story from the book. But I mean, I don't know what kind. I mean, I'm kind of hard pressed to believe that they wouldn't have seen any of the revenue that came from ticket sales, from syndication on TV, because I swear that movie's on TV all the time.
Yeah, that movie was a big hit.
So
Apparently, it's crazy. The kids are getting royalties because everyone who had their likeness except him. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
all they have to do is hire a forensics accountant. That'd be good. Chase the money.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it comes out. Like the article really gets into a lot more of it, because it's as you mentioned, like there's in the petition it's seeking full accounting of all the money that they earned from his name, and to have the couple pay him his fair share of profits, as well as an unspecified amount of compensatory and punitive damages as well. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot to unpack here, and once we get the counter legal response, I'm sure there will be even more. So, this was America's favorite movie, and we literally got blindsided over here. So
Stop it.
I see what you
Stop
did there.
it. No.
I see what you did there. I like it.
Oh man.
thank you.
Dan, you got any secret
So-
kids? That way dropping these dad jokes on us?
No, not at all.
That we
Not
know.
not that he knows of.
Yeah.
That's why I said secret kids.
All right. Well, that is some shocking news. Anyway, we do have some non-sponsors today, of course, and Corey is here to provide it for us in his new studio. What do you have to say about this, Corey?
Well, I have this fabulous sticker that I put on my pop socket from my very good friend's site, Juan Bonilla. If you need any graphic design or anything of that sort in Costa Rica, I don't know if it's graphic design, maybe it can be international. Really cool dude. It is Trip 8 Studios. I also have a hoodie from him. He, as an addition to being a graphic designer, is also the number one receiver for the Costa Rica Football League last year. So you're helping a fellow athlete.
There you go. Supporting the athlete boys. Proud non-sponsor of Sports by Compton.
Sponsor. He's gonna find out about this after this podcast.
Fucking beautiful, dude. It's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, moving on. Shout out to our boy Juan. I did meet him. Good lad. We're gonna go just hop into this as far as some fantasy. Just whether or not we believe these guys are where they should be. Who we're gonna draft first overall and such like that. But let's go through the quarterbacks first. Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, top 3. How do we feel about that, guys?
Why'd you list Patrick Mahomes third?
That's what I was about to say. That's what he's so low.
He did it because I'm on.
No, that's what he's listed as. Look at the screen, Cedric.
Is that points from last year?
Huh?
Are we looking at points from last year?
That is projected points for this year. Yeah, no, I think it's off of points last year.
Even what's Baker Mayfield projected at?
No, it says 2023, so maybe not. But hey, I don't think that's really the point, Cedric, and there's no need to be, hurtful, okay? Just because, he's 3. It's not even like it's that big of a deal, so, Let's see here. Yeah, no, I think it is based on their projected. So this is just what they're projecting, okay? Don't be mad at me.
Scroll down. Let's see if there's any rookies in here.
So what we got so far, definitely no rookies on the first page at least. So moving on from them, we got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and then, we're not the only ones who think that Deshaun Watson's due for a pretty good year. They're putting him ahead of Justin Herbert and ahead of Dak Prescott. Justin Fields could go off. Geno Smith might be being disrespected again. The ever-reliable Kirk Cousins.
Super low.
Aaron Rodgers is very low. So is Trevor Lawrence. Jared Goff proved something last year, so that might be a good pickup. Brock Purdy, you could gamble on him. Jordan Love. Matthew Stafford's way down here. And, of course, there's Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. So there you go, Corey. There's 2 rookies.
It's projected then, yeah.
So, what do you think, Daniel, about this list? You think it's pretty fair? Are you surprised to see Aaron Rodgers so low?
No, I'm with you there. I'm a little surprised that Aaron Rodgers was so low. I get the new system, new setup and everything, but I wouldn't put him next to Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's probably too high, actually.
I do think Russell Wilson's going to have a better year, too, but...
Tua also very low. Why is Tua, at the bottom?
Yeah,
he's so injury-prone. I believe that's fair.
If he can stay healthy, then, he's definitely higher up the list, but I think...
Even if he's in there for a handful of games, look at his receivers. He's got the best receiver core in the league.
Yeah, but dude, the guy misses so many games, and honestly, he does get shut down on some games too. So, I would like to see a little more consistency out of him before they put him any higher. Honestly, I don't know. I might draft him before Brock Purdy, though.
Do you think Tua gets blasted so much because he has those crazy fast receivers, so they're trying to throw deep, so he has more time in the pocket?
No, he gets blasted so much because every single year he's been in the league, he's had a concussion and been knocked out for multiple games.
No, that's what I mean. He gets tackled so much, he gets sacked so much. That's what I mean by gets blasted. He's hanging out of the pocket for so long. That's why, he gets sacked a lot.
Tariq Hill was just over there just last year. So before that, he doesn't have excuse. And Waddle is a good route runner for the middle, too.
He's still pretty mobile in there. I think it's just he just takes bad hits. He doesn't know when to get rid of the ball to protect himself.
But what I'm saying is it happened to him, and then a handful of games later, it happened to Teddy Bridgewater. So it's not like he's the sole problem. 2 people were in there, and they
not at all.
Out.
But to be fair, Teddy Bridgewater is also very injury prone.
So it's something that
that guy is a great what if.
Yeah. So Orlando Brown Jr. called it out on why he wanted to go play with Burrow, because there are 2 different types of quarterbacks. There are multiple kinds, but just for pocket passers, Joe Burrow will stay in the pocket as long as he possibly can, whereas Mahomes or Teddy Bridgewater or Tua will leave it a little earlier, so they have to block different like differently. So that leaves them open when they leave the pocket too soon. They'll get blasted. So that's what's happening to Tua because it's something you can get away with in college, but it doesn't really roll that well in NFL unless you're Lamar Jackson.
That's hard.
Yeah, but even then, I think he's on borrowed time. Like
Tua?
No, Lamar.
Oh, who knows, man?
I think he can only play like that for so much longer. I'm not saying if he gets better in the pocket, like he's not a bad pocket passer, but like he's got to be in there a lot more over these next couple of years because it's.
I think if you look at his play progression, like year over year from rookie year, he has become more of a pocket passer. Because I mean, look at playoffs. Oh, sorry.
Well, look at Russell Wilson. Like he was so run heavy when he came in the league too, and now he's definitely more like he runs when he needs to, but not. He doesn't default to it a lot earlier than he used to.
Dude, he's old as shit. He looked so old last year.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of people I thought were maybe overrated were Daniel Jones.
I'm surprised Justin.
Daniel Jones is going to shit the bed this year. I feel it's going to be great.
Wait, I haven't bought into the Daniel Jones train yet. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he's a little overrated on this list. Kirk Cousins is I don't know. It's hard to say he's overrated because he kind of does put up decent numbers all the time. But Russell Wilson, I don't know if he should be that high. Brock Purdy's ahead of a couple people that I thought. Who do they got for the Saints?
I think I would put like Aaron Rodgers
right reasonable.
Like right between Dak and Herbert is where Rodgers should go, and then maybe Trevor Lawrence like either behind or in front of Dak.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is definitely low on this list.
Yeah.
Him and
everyone else is kind of like whatever. But
Matthew Stafford too.
You could probably split Cousins and Fields.
Yeah.
Stafford, it's weird that Stafford's so far down and Russ is that high because they both had a bad year.
Yeah.
Well, no, wasn't Stafford injured basically the entire year last year?
Basically the whole year, yeah. He did have some low numbers when he was in there and healthy, but he was banged up for most of the year. So yeah, he definitely had a bad year, but it's true. They're giving Russell a break for it, but not Stafford. So that's interesting. I think he could be a sleeper down there. Even Jared Goff, I feel like, is a little low on this list. After the year he had last year, kind of proved it, and now they got a couple more weapons to help him out. Marson Brown is a talent down there. Speaking of moving on to other positions. Sorry, go ahead, Cedric.
I was going to say, apparently Jared Goff's looking crazy in camp this year. So
yeah.
Come off fire. Yeah.
We'll see that guy turn his career around, He's kind of always been an up-and-down guy, but pretty consistent, honestly. And who knows? He's over there with Detroit making it happen. So moving on to some running backs. Now, Cedric here claims that the running back market's going to be hot this year. I'm not sure I'm a believer. So we got Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, and Joe Mixon leading off this list.
I'm just saying it's going to be interchangeable. Like, you can get a running back pretty late in the draft, I'd say, and they could still produce, especially these rookies coming in, like Dan Gill. I know you guys on the Packers, you got a little sleeper there. I forgot his name. Was it Michael Nelson or something? Number 31. Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson.
Emmanuel Wilson. Yeah, he's going to be one of those sleepers.
So he's
around. Yeah.
Why wasn't Josh Jacobs the rushing leader? Why is he in fourth?
Because Christian McCaffrey is so versatile, and Austin Eckler's been fucking really good too. Both of those guys can catch out of the backfield. Joe Mixon's been consistent as hell. And honestly, Josh Jacobs kind of put it on in the last part of the year. Like, he started off a little slow. I think it's pretty fair. You never know what you're going to get out of the Raiders again. I think that's another factor, is that, like, Derek Carr's gone there. Who even is the quarterback for the Raiders right now? Who?
Jimmy
Garoppolo.
Oh, yeah. So, honestly, they're probably going to be running the ball a lot. So, who knows? He might even be better than he was last year. But he's also getting older. I'm going
to be honest. I didn't expect Jacobs to be on the Raiders this year, the way last year ended.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were cleaning house.
I think they wanted to, but he just played so well.
At the last game. They were trying to move his, I think they had his, Cars, and Waller's jerseys all on sale during the last Raiders home game to get rid of him. Like, if
I
that's
think they
not a
wanted to
sign you
move
want to
him,
move on.
but he just balled out. So they're like, maybe we can't move on from him.
I mean, they got rid of 2 of the 3, so, I guess you got to keep one.
Yeah, fair enough. So then, other than that, they had Rashad Stevenson on this list, who I believe is too high. I think Cedric would agree. I just don't know if I trust New England running backs like that.
I just think it's the year of a versatile back, and if we're talking fantasy, I mean, go receiver heavy if you can in your draft, but don't sleep on my boy Jerick McKinnon. I mean, he's going to be a heavy early draft for me if I can. I mean, he had the most receiving touchdowns for the Chiefs last year.
He did have a boatload last year, and then of course is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry kind of had a rough year last year. I mean, he obviously had games where he went off, but his days of being like a first overall draft pick may be over, huh?
I mean,
he's just such a big target. Corey, how do you feel about this Derrick Henry slide?
Tough to play running back like you're a D lineman, for your whole career. Obviously, he's going to get slowed down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he did kind of have
everybody every play.
He had moments, man, like that game against Jacksonville where they're desperately fighting for a playoff spot. Like, he had a couple big runs. He was doing his part. It's just, the Titans need a little bit more help down there on offense than just him.
Yeah, they got Hopkins.
Yeah, they got Hopkins.
All right.
They have no quarterback, but they got Hopkins.
They got Hopkins. All right.
Who else is on this list? Because I feel like Connor's a little high.
Tony Pollard's on this. No, that sounds about right for Tony Pollard. Even playing like Ezekiel Elliott stealing all his touchdowns last year, he still had a solid fantasy year. So I think that's pretty safe. Above Shaquan Barkley is interesting, and above Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb, because those are 3 very solid running backs. So that's interesting, but honestly, Pollard might have a higher ceiling than those 3.
I think if he's getting most of the carries, he's like similar to Eckler and McCaffrey, and that he can like catch a lot. So he's going to be versatile, not just taking handoffs.
And then, of course, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was saying with Zeke being gone, it's probably going to open up so much more for him.
100%.
Yeah. I think it's just him and some rookie who's like very fun.
Deuce Vaughn is going to tear it up, bro.
I hope
so. Darren Sproles.
I hope so. He scored in preseason.
Oh yeah, he's like a little pinball.
You pause there, Steve.
Yeah, I noticed that. All right, cool. So I think it's interesting. Breece Hall here. They probably haven't notated that Cook just got traded there, but either way, that's 2 consistent Jets running backs, and of course there's the whole situation with Jonathan Taylor. What the hell? This guy went from first overall pick last year to terrible year, and now he's mad at the Colts. The Colts are mad at him. What's going to happen with that one, huh?
He's going to the Chiefs.
What do the Chiefs have?
Chiefs have Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and the rookie. I forgot his fucking name.
I think I saw.
But they already got enough people.
He was pretty good.
Jameer Prince.
Yeah. Enough. So yeah, it's an interesting situation with Jonathan Taylor. But you're right, Cedric. We're already pretty deep into this list, and you're just now seeing Jonathan Taylor. So that's interesting. There's James Conner, who always gets plenty of touchdowns, even though he's not the most yards. And then Alexander Madison, who now that Cook is gone, should be a pretty consistent pickup. Pretty good pickup there for sure.
Why is he questionable though? Why is he injured?
I don't know. I don't think any of these really matter right now. It's still preseason, so.
Joe Burrow, it's a
people are blowing their race songs.
Oh, Joe Burrow's going to be hurt, but he's supposed to play the first week. But
is he? Oh,
he really shouldn't.
That guy's just too much of a warrior for his own good.
I mean, he can go be a warrior if he wants. His own teammates don't want to play; they want him to rest up. But
right,
if he's gonna have the same year as Herbert, because like last season when the Chiefs broke his ribs basically because his coach let him stay in and be a warrior. I mean that blew their playoff chances right there. So
But how did he hurt himself? Did he hurt himself in that playoff game and just never recovered, or what?
Who, Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
He sprained his calf in training camp.
Oh. Well, that's not great.
Yeah, he was like rolling out to his right.
Yeah, he just went down.
Turf monster got him.
Damn. And then B.J. Robinson, very interesting pick here with Atlanta. My only thing about him is that Tyler Huntley he played pretty well last year, so I wonder if they're going to kind of split the carries a little bit between them. But, Robinson might just be an absolute monster and just end up sucking up all those carries, so that might be a nice sleeper pick that deep into the draft for sure. Then, yeah, you still got... This is crazy. You still got ETN... Harris is still available. Javonte Williams was interesting last year. I mean, that whole fucking Denver team sucked, so it's hard to kind of give him too much slack. But he definitely had a disappointing year. Fournette is gone, so Rachaad White should be getting the majority of the carries down there in Tampa, which I think they're going to need it with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask leading the party. We're going to need a solid run game if we're going to have any chance this year. And then Pacheco is here, but you think McKinnon's a better pickup than Pacheco, Cedric?
Well, I think what's going on with running backs now. I think a lot of teams are going to keep more running backs on the roster so they can preserve them should they go into the playoffs. So right now, I think Andy Reid is planning on keeping Pacheco for the second half of the season for that playoff push, and we're going to play more of our rookie Clyde and probably Jarek as like that Swiss Army knife because he's more of a slot receiver than a running back. So I don't know. I think this year is going to be interesting with running backs. We'll see. Everyone's going to be stacked.
Yeah, it looks very interesting so far. You might be right what you're talking about because here's Kenneth Walker. Solid ass year out of him last year for sure. Dameon Pierce. Was it last year he went off or was it the year before that he had a really good year?
It was last year. I think
it was last year, right? He kind of got hot mid-season and was very good. James Cook didn't really do anything last year, but I mean they got to hand the ball to somebody there in Buffalo. Alvin Kamara might be worth taking that suspension. It's only 3 games, so he might be worth sitting on your bench for sure. Dan, what do you think about Kamara being that deep in there?
I mean, he's suspended, so that's probably why he's so low.
For sure.
Who's taking the carry?
I don't think we have him for the first half of the year, so he's not going to get that many points.
Makes sense.
But who's taking those Saints carries?
That's a good question. Maybe they're just going to hand it to James. You know what? Hold on, I got it. They're probably just going to hand it to Jameis Winston. I mean, that's what I would do.
Just go to the second page.
Yeah, we'll find out here in a hot minute. But DeAndre Swift is a nice little pickup there too because Sanders is gone, so it should be Swift's game. Cam Akers, an absolute disaster last year. Would not recommend drafting Cam Akers. I think he's on his way out of the league. Not to be an asshole, sorry, Cam. Jeff Wilson.
Dobbins very low as well.
What was that?
J.K. Dobbins, I guess just Lamar takes all those carries?
I think he's having some kind of dispute with with Baltimore right now. Lamar just takes all his carries. You're not wrong. And then Jeff Wilson's one of those home run hitter running backs that you put in and every once in a while he'll pull off 30 points, but then he has those 2-point games. David Montgomery out to Detroit is interesting. He's a consistent running back, was good last year. It'll be interesting how he works in with a very crowded backfield there in Detroit because so they drafted Gibbons and they also have Williams is still there, right? Or did he move on?
He moved on.
He moved on. Okay, yeah. So it's just those two actually, because then they moved on from Swift as well. So yeah, maybe it could work out. And then Brian Robinson was decent last year, kind of phasing out Antonio Gibson. AJ Dillon feels like that running back you draft every year, and you're like, maybe it's gonna be AJ Dillon's year, and then he kind of just maybe we'll put up a 10 at some point in the year. So I don't know about him. Here's Miles Sanders. I was wondering where he ended up. So with Carolina, that's very interesting, especially with Chuba Hubbard kind of struggling over the last couple of years. I think they'll probably obviously try to give the bulk of the carries to Miles Sanders. They obviously paid him enough to do so. Khalil Hubbard had a good year as well.
Looks
What
like
was it?
Jamal
He's
Williams
good
was
as-
getting those carries from Kamara.
Yeah. But, like, is he like a every down back? What do you think, Dan? You know him pretty well from the Packers days.
So you cut out. What did you say?
Do you think Jamal Williams could be an every down back?
He could be. Yeah. I think in the right system. I mean, I feel like they used him pretty well last year too. Even though they had Swift, I still think he got a good amount of playing time.
Yeah,
He should fit in pretty well with the Saints.
I think so. I think they'll probably find a speed back to help him out. I mean, well, obviously Kamara is coming back at some point, so those early weeks I could see Jamal Williams really going off, at least close to the goal line. You know.
He's going to do exactly what Mark Ingram did.
Yeah, that checks out. Chuba Hubbard, like I said, has been struggling the last couple of years. Devonta Foreman feels like that guy who's always at that second string running back, and no one's really giving him a chance, but he's good. So it's going to be interesting to see him battle out with Khalil Hubbard and see how that goes. And then, as I was mentioning, Tyler Aguilar had over 1,000 yards for Carolina for the Saints. For the Falcons last year. So I'm curious if they're just going to completely phase him out of the offense, or what's going to happen. Anyone have any thoughts about that?
Cordarrelle's starting right now. Tyler Algiers at second. I mean, like I said, with running backs, they're so interchangeable this year. I mean, him being third string doesn't mean anything because they could put him. I mean, they might have a special package for him. We don't know. They might bust that second half of the season. But I mean, he's just too explosive player to keep him back.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens with the rest of these guys. Oh wow, cool to see Chase Edmonds with the Bucks. I didn't even know that. Not gonna lie, it's pretty embarrassing. But he's always been a consistent fantasy option. So cool to see him with the Bucks now. We're gonna need some help with Rashad White too. So yeah, the rest of these guys, kind of hit or miss guys. I think you'll see how they do as the year continues. That's running backs, boys.
Steve, quick Madden update.
Yeah, how's it looking? Any better?
No, nostalgia factor here. They brought back mini games.
Okay.
So, like, mini camp games, all that stuff, combine stuff, they brought it all back. So, there's that.
That's good.
Which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, something from the game, like, what was it, 2012, when they last had that? Maybe before that.
Weird they would cut content though. They're like this
So
thing.
crazy. This thing people like.
Less of the game.
Listen, you guys don't need this. We know what's best for you, Shay.
We're gonna have you less game to play. Doesn't that sound nice? Don't you hate playing our game?
Yeah. All right, guys. Hopping into these wide receivers. Before we wrap this up, Corey, do you see who's leading off this list?
Yeah, that's wild.
That is kind of interesting. I don't think I would go CD Lamb with no offense to him, but with these other receivers available.
There's other good receivers there, so it's not even like he's getting 100% of the targets. So that's a bold strategy. I put him maybe like below Justin Jefferson. Well, Stephon Diggs is all the way down to like 7. What is
that's
going on?
That's what I'm saying, man. He can go above Chris Olave in my world. In my world, he's above Chris Olave.
I think he's probably better than Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I think everybody, above Chris Olave, but then bring down St. Brown. And I think that makes sense. But also, you got to bring up Devontae Adams. I guess he doesn't really have a quarterback.
Devontae Adams needs to come up even though he doesn't have a quarterback. Deebo Samuels is also pretty amazing. So Calvin Ridley over there with Jacksonville. Wow, this is a stacked receiver room. Holy cow, man. So yeah, Amari St. Brown had a baller year last year, but I really think I would either go Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase first overall here. What do you guys think?
Jamar's not going to have his quarterback, man. So
that's a good point.
The first 5 weeks to think about that.
Yeah,
Jefferson because he's doing it with the mediocre quarterback. So, regardless of if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, he's still going to be out there producing. And
Kirk Cousins never gets hurt. To be fair,
true. He's very consistent. Yeah, so it's got to be Justin Jefferson number one.
Oh,
I think so. Only because Cooper Kupp was so fragile last year. Like, he had that amazing year when they won the Super Bowl, but he was fragile as heck last year.
He's fragile. His quarterback's fragile. So drop down Cooper Kupp a little bit, but I think I'd still take Cooper Kupp over CeeDee Lamb. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, love CeeDee Lamb. That's way too high, man. I don't know what's going on there.
if we get to the second, third round, and Calvin Ridley's still available, I'm taking him. He's having a crazy year.
I agree. What do you think, Dan?
Coming out of suspension. No, I mean, I agree. I think Justin Jefferson's the way to go. I mean, yeah, like, sure, if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy and you can get Kupp at a decent round, that could end up being a steal, because if they can put together what they had a couple of years ago, that'll be nice. I don't think that Jimmy G is going to do as bad as you think he's going to do. Like, I think...
Fine. He's just a little fragile.
Yeah,
The man fucks porn stars, bro. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. Because, I mean, like, let's be real here. Look at the rest of that San Francisco quarterback. Purdy, Lance, they're injured too. So, you know, if all three were still there, who do you feel confident about? Jimmy G got out, but
Yeah.
I think he has pieces around him to do well in Vegas. But you know, I think Jefferson's the way to go. Tua can stay healthy, maybe get Waddle out of it, but I would like to see Derek Carr ball out, so Olave can be a decent pickup. But
I would not like to see that.
Is Stephon so low because Davis is taking a lot of those passes?
Who?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's something Davis is the second quarterback there. He's the one that catches all the deep balls. He had like 2 of the longest receptions last year.
What team is this? Raiders?
The Bills. Receiver from the Bills.
Oh, yeah. He also has Gabriel Davis. Yeah, Gabriel Davis.
Yeah,
Yep.
Gabe Davis.
Could be that. I mean, he still had a good year last year. I think if someone grabs Jefferson, you're definitely not going wrong with Diggs, with St. Brown, with Cooper. I would even take Devontae Adams. I'm sorry, first. Even Samuel, like, he can be a little fragile sometimes, but when he's on, man. He can win a game for you just him alone.
Yeah.
Devontae's trying to find his way to the Jets by the end of the season. Let's see what happens.
Oh, and then Scary Terry's down here. Pretty good year out of him last year. Not too bad. T. Higgins, I think, is a little high here, especially above my boy Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That's just crazy talk. Mark Cooper, very solid year out of him. What are you talking about, dude? Baker Mayfield all day.
But why is Garrett Wilson so low whenever, like, you got like a second receiver, like T. Higgins, over the number one receiver from the Jets who have Aaron Rodgers?
These are fair questions, Corey. I would personally go Garrett Wilson over T. Higgins.
Right.
And then you got Mike Williams and Allen over there from the Chargers. Consistent receiver people we've seen here before, obviously with Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, and Allen, who is going to be fighting some injuries this year. Is that correct? And then AJ Brown. Sorry, maybe that's not him. I thought it was him. Yeah, no, it is Keenan Allen.
He was hurt a lot last year.
Yeah.
But why is Devontae Smith over A.J. Brown? Like, I know they're a little interchangeable, but I thought A.J. Brown was, like, the 1A guy.
And I would probably go A.J. Brown over Devontae Smith personally. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, it is important that you draft your own team and do not get a automated drafted team. Now, I have seen people win the league on those two. You can. Because a lot of it is really about what happens in the midseason and all this, what you do with your team as you go. But certainly doesn't fucking hurt to draft your own team.
Yeah, because this is some madness with these rankings.
Yep.
I don't know who's projecting these, but
because we got DK Metcalf, an absolute stud, first round, definitely could be a number one receiver for a team. Christian Kirk, also pretty good. We got disagreement over there from Cedric as far as DK Metcalf. You don't believe in Geno?
No, not as your number one receiver. I'd say he maybe can be a 2 or a 3. I don't know, but Dan, what do you think?
I'm not a big DK guy. I'm gonna be honest. Like, he has the size going for him, but like they don't really take advantage of it too often.
Yeah.
Nor do I think he knows. I don't think he knows how to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'd be one thing if they could like drive down the field and get into within 20 yards, goal line fade to him every time. But they're just not a team
He's a
that do that.
perfect red zone guy.
So yeah, I just don't think. I mean, Steven, please do draft DK Metcalf as soon as you can.
There's also Christian Kirk, who had a solid year last year. Definitely some ups and downs, but overall played pretty well. You know, do you think he's do you think he's above Garrett Wilson, though? I think that's a fair question. Christian Watson also balled out, but I think we saw limited action out of Christian Watson, you know?
I mean, Andre, you're talking about a veteran basically versus two sophomore players.
Yeah.
So I mean, Christian Kirk he's the fucking base of that wide receiver core right now. I mean, Calvin Ridley's
they're loaded right now, though. They got Zay Thomas over there. They just re-signed Ingram.
Christian Kirk is like to the Jaguars as fucking Keenan Allen is to the Chargers. He's like their route runner, their safe hook guy. He's going to get a lot of passes first time, a lot of quick touchdowns.
Good point. And then Hopkins over there with Tennessee, as we had mentioned, maybe even a little low on this list with no suspensions this year. It could be a good sleeper pick. Probably 2 or 3 though.
Mike Thomas.
I think Jahan Dotson.
Dotson's going to be good.
I think Jahan Dotson's a good sleeper pick. That's my opinion.
Is that the Colts guy?
Washington. No, he did have some good plays last year for sure.
Don't sleep on De'Ami Brown either. He's a little fast receiver.
De'Ami Brown, and then Drake London. I saw him have a baller game against the Bucks to close out the year. Definitely emerging as the number 1 receiver over there in Atlanta. Same with Michael Pittman. You know, you could say there's limited action over there in Indiana, but when they do throw the ball, they usually try to throw it to Pittman. He had a solid year, even though most of that offense sucked. Jerry Jeudy, I feel like, is this guy. Jerry Jeudy and Michael Thomas being next to each other is appropriate, because ever since that season where Michael Thomas went off, he's just been ridiculous the last 2 years. So, I hope all my enemies draft him because he's ridiculous. And then there's Jerry Jeudy, who's like beating everybody down the sideline and then drops the ball. So, 2 guys who maybe are going to be amazing, maybe not, you know. And that pretty much, we could go a little deeper on this list, but there's when you start seeing Brandon Ayuk, might be time to wrap it up.
Steeler we see.
Dante Johnson, I was just going to say that. And then here's your boy Gabe Davis. Yep. Randall Moore was pretty good last year. DJ Moore over there with Chicago now should be interesting. And then, Marquise Brown. Any last thoughts on these picks, guys?
Renfro? He's all the way down here on the second page?
Renfro's trash. Yeah. He's not going to get points this season.
I guess if they're giving the ball to anyone, it's probably Devontae. So, he's like the 3rd receiver on that. There's some other dude I don't even know on here.
Jacoby Myers. He came over from the from New England, kind of like that. Kind of what Cedric described, a short route runner type of guy.
Gotcha.
So tight ends, this is one of the things that can make or break your season, I feel like, because if you ignore them for too long, then you end up with a terrible tight end, and you're struggling the whole season. Some guys go really early with tight ends, and maybe he's not wrong with guys like Travis Kelce on the board. I think there's a pretty big drop-off to Mark Andrews, which they allude to as well, almost 100-point drop-off in the projections. And then Darren Waller.
Darren Waller over your tight end slot.
Yeah. I would have Darren Waller as like number 1, but then you got to go back to Daniel Jones. So
right.
Yeah.
If he didn't have Daniel Jones, he would definitely.
That's a good point.
Yeah, well, I think that's what hurts Mark Andrews too. Is like the Ravens love to use him, but like they don't use him too much in the red zone. So, I mean, sure, a couple of years ago he had a good touchdown total, but like he's good for like middle of the field stuff like that, like converting the first downs.
Yeah,
I feel like when it comes down to like the red zone, they're running the ball in, so like he doesn't get to cash in on that. I mean, said, correct me if I'm wrong. Like they love throwing to Kelce in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean Kelsey's our go-to as the clutch. Like if we need some yards, we need something. You can know that the ball's going to Kelsey and he can still kind of work through double coverage.
Yeah.
But no, I think we've got a lot of slot guys that can do a lot of movement. So like Kelsey doesn't necessarily have to be that go-to guy. I think they're trying to switch it up now. But I honestly don't know, man. We have a whole bunch of receivers that we don't want to let go. Like I don't know if you guys are aware. We're only keeping I think 6 or 7 receivers, hopefully 7. But, I mean, we've got MVS, Darius Toney, Sky Moore.
You said Tony already.
Yeah, Sky Moore, Rasheed Rice, Justin Ross is going to be the big one. He's the kid out of out of Clemson who was hurt, so he had a sabbatical last year, basically just sitting out on the practice squad. He's the guy that beat Alabama his freshman year with Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
So he's definitely going to make the team. But then we have Justin Watson, kid who just made some clutch catches for us last year, and then this new guy. I mean, I think we
Justin Watson, did he come from the Bucks? Is that
who's that?
Justin Watson? Didn't he come from the Buccaneers?
I don't know. Did he?
I think he did. Yeah, I think I remember Justin Watson. White boy?
I think we might have. No, we might. What?
Is he a white boy? White boy receiver? Yeah, he came from the Bucks. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, he's clutch.
Yeah, but, he does make clutch matches.
This rookie that's probably not going to make the team, but like he's going to get picked up instantly is Nico Ramigo. So watch out for that kid. He's out of Fresno State.
We gotta get a full Chiefs outlook from you, Cedric. So we'll hop into that on another pod. So TJ Hawkinson, I think, is honestly a really solid pickup here. If you can't get Travis Kelce first overall, I would actually go Hawkinson over the other two. Dallas Goedert, of course, good. George Kittle, can't go wrong with him. The only problem is injuries. Kyle Pitts, he did have a good year last year. Is he warranted to be your the guy that you trust, though, at tight end?
Depends on what you think of Ritter.
Yeah, depends on what you think of Ryder, right? Isn't that their guy? Riker?
Yeah.
Ritter, I think.
Ritter, yeah, you're right. It is Ritter, yeah.
One of these is correct.
Mm-hmm. It is Ritter, I'm sorry. So, yeah, that is interesting. And then Dalton Schultz got traded over from the Cowboys to Houston now, so that should be interesting. Evan Ingram, Jared over there with the Chargers, who also had a solid year. It kind of falls off a little bit after that. Tyler Higbee is one of those guys who's very much up and down. He'll give you like a decent week, and then he'll give you a 2-point week. I haven't seen this guy from Tennessee. Have you guys? Chattanooga?
Who's that?
Can't even pronounce that name.
Oh, dude, David Njoku is supposed to be really good this year. I guess his chemistry with Watson they've been on fire.
I think that dude's been around. I think I saw him in a playoff run a couple years ago with the Titans.
Okay.
I think I recognize that crazy ass name. I could be wrong though.
Pat had a pretty decent year last year too.
What's his name?
I can't pronounce it, man. But look, I'll click on it. It's this one here. Yeah, it's definitely African. I want to say.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I think he's a rookie. Anyway, it's that guy.
Titans tight end.
Yeah.
He's projected high if he's a rookie.
Yeah, it's pretty high for a rookie. But it makes sense. It's kind of a hit or miss with these guys. Like Pat had a decent year last year. I don't even know who.
Okay, a Conquest.
A Conquest. Okay.
He's calling Chig. Oh yeah, he was a rookie last year.
This year.
This year?
I thought he was a rookie this year. Could be last year. I don't know.
Yeah, it was last year. He's got.
Well, I think you're right, Cedric. I think David Njoku is a solid pick in the midst of all these what if guys. Cade Otton, I think, is going to be solid, but that's my Buccaneers bias. Noah Fant, might pay off for a pick, later in the draft. Irvin Smith was decent with the Vikings, but never really took off.
Steven, who's the Bucs tight end?
Cade Otton. It's the second year in the league. pretty well with Brady. Had some clutch play, games, but not super amazing or anything. It's only his second year, so we'll see how he connects with the new quarterbacks.
Who do the Packers have, Dan?
They got 2 stud tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, they just drafted one because they lost Mercedes Lewis. I think he went to Chicago.
And Bobby Tunyon, right?
Anton, yeah, like we lost 2 tight ends.
2 stud tight ends.
Yeah, so they drafted what's her name?
It's like Musker or something.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft is who they got. Musgrave's out of Oregon State and Kraft is out of South Dakota State. So I think it was nice to see. I mean, I don't know if before the draft they knew. I think Tunyon was gone before the draft. I don't think that Lewis was gone at that time. But they also have Austin Allen. He's been with the team for like 2 years now. And Tyler Davis, who's bounced around a little bit. So, like, no. I mean, they do have DeGuara, who been around since 2020. Like, he's had flashes of good spots, but, like, nothing too consistent, unfortunately. But maybe with the tight end room opening up a little bit, instead of being behind Tunyon and Lewis, I'll get a little more playing time when it comes to that. But I think Musgrave is going to do pretty well this year. Hopefully Kraft himself as well.
Sweet. Well, just to finish out the list, as I mentioned, Irvin Smith, Juwan Johnson had some good games. Fell off as most of these tight ends do. That's the problem with all these tight ends is really just consistency. But we'll have another go at it this year. Probably want to draft your guys early because otherwise you might be drafting someone like Hayden Hurst and hoping for the best. Well, no hate on Hayden Hurst. He's kind of an up and down guy too. We're not really going to go through these kickers because who cares? But it is kind of weird that Justin Tucker is not number 1 or Mr. Koo, which I've already talked.
Always go with young Ho Koo is the way to go. Wait,
can't go wrong, dude. It is interesting that the Packers defense is number 1, followed by the Commanders defense, and then Minnesota defense. Interesting choices.
Yeah, I feel like your list is off.
Dude, this isn't my list. This is the NFL. And I don't know, man. Defense and points is interesting because it's like you could be a really good defense, but you don't score many points because like you don't have turnovers, and it's like I don't know, kind of a weird scoring system for the defense.
You know what I hate about the scoring system for defense is that like if a quarterback throws a pick 6, it still penalizes your defense. Like honestly, it shouldn't.
Wait, what? It penalizes your defense? Oh, so if they... Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Because it does flat points scored, not how many points did the defense give up.
That's dumb.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, boys, just to go ahead and wrap this up, does anyone have any lovely final thoughts they'd like to share with the public?
Yeah. Did you know that Stetson Bennett, who is the Rams QB backup, I guess he's going to be the backup rookie, his freshman year at Georgia was Sony Michel's senior year, and Sony Michel played an entire NFL career, won 2 Super Bowls, and retired before Stetson Bennett got drafted.
He's old as shit. Was it
The dude was in college from 2017 to 2022. Like, wild.
Why?
I don't know.
Just enjoy the time.
People that are like,
Really liked it.
yeah, well, these guys, you see, they have these long college runs. Like, there's some dude that's like up for his 8th year. Like, Stetson Bennett is older than Lamar Jackson.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, fun fact of the day.
Hey, well, best of luck to Stetson Bennett, man. The guy kind of hung around there. He's like, whatever, dude, we're winning national championship. So I'm just going to hang out here in Georgia. I'm a fucking king here. Who knows how it's going to go in the NFL?
Yeah, not much of a rookie.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Hey, once you get those NIL deals, why do you want to leave?
I've been to Athens, Georgia. It is a lovely town. They love their Georgia Bulldogs, let me tell you. So he probably is living like a king there in that little town. Anyway, that is some a fun little fact to wrap up with. Does anyone want to add anything?
Didn't he get a Dewey like right after the fucking college championship?
No, that was someone else on the team.
No, I think Stetson got something. He got like public
No, 'cause
investigation.
Maybe because I know like 2 players and 2 coaches got pulled over and arrested.
Oh boy!
Like
Oh yeah.
on the way to the championship parade.
Oh boy,
So
that's tough.
Oh man!
The way to
we're
lose
talking about taking it out.
Yeah, let's end on a happier note, which is that the little China person here says, just keep waving.
Keep waving.
Isn't that nice?
Nah, dude, do that with the gray cat. I want to see it in real life.
No, dude, she's feisty. We're not trying to get stabbed out here. We ain't trying to get stabbed out here. But anyway, don't get stabbed in real life either, people.
Where's to live by it?
Unless that's how you get down. Either way, Sports by Compton's out.